have arrived on the boat. I think it's just going to be such a different experience. I understood that it's gonna be.
It's gonna be a long
time.
Long days.
Long days. So
yeah,
it's gonna be a big learning lesson how to take things slowly. And yeah, we might come back to Rio.
It must have been 2004 or 2005 when Anne from the Green family wrote the letter to London. She was chief islander at the time, you see. There were a lot of complaints about internet shopping. People said they could not fill out the delivery option and address. Tristan is too small. Mails coming to our Edinburgh of the Seven Seas were often mixed and ended up in Scotland, you see. So Anne asked the House of Lords for a review, amendment, I don't remember the words exactly, but she asked for us to get a more UK-sounding postcode. We are part of Britain after all. It was said that this would make it easier for people to buy on eBay and Amazon. That's when our postcode became TDCU IZZ. I still get letters from my sister in the Cape and parcels every few months, whenever the ships come. This year is the 200th anniversary of our community, our nice little island in the middle of the Atlantic, between South America and South Africa. And despite all these years, you can still only get here by boat. It makes perfect sense if you think about it. The first person who spotted the island, the sailor Tristan da Cunha, saw it from a boat. That's where the name comes from. There was no one before us. We are 268 people living here. It's quite an achievement.
Third day on the boat.
Yes, we are still at the Angra port.
There are many things that we still haven't done and that the boat needs repair and things we need to improve on the boat, so we might stay here. We are definitely not leaving today. We might leave tomorrow or maybe in 3 or 4 days.
Yes, today I learned to ride a boat.
She's quite good at riding the boat.
We're still here. Actually, I asked Jan, and tomorrow the engine is gonna be ready, and we're gonna try maybe to sail around.
Around where?
Like he's gonna set up a small raffle so we can understand what sailing means.
So we're not gonna be sailing with a big boat?
Probably not, because the engine's gonna be ready only at 6. Anyways.
Cool, and do you know when we're gonna be departing? Day after?
Probably.
We just finished reading A Lonely Island.
Yes, and today I started my Tristan journal. I wrote so many pages.
What did you write about?
I don't know, but everything a bit descriptive.
About the island?
No, but like the journey
Oh, cool.
of being in the port for 3 days.
Levi's a bit sleepy.
I'm sleepy.
And it's only 10:30 p.m.
It's been raining all day.
It's been raining the whole day and we are still in Angra.
I'm gonna leave on the probably day after.
Hopefully tomorrow we're gonna head to Cabo Frio, and then day after tomorrow, Monday, we're gonna head to the ocean.
Yes, if it all goes smooth. I'm reading second book about Tristan missionary vibes.
Liv is becoming an expert.
Back then, when Napoleon was a prisoner in St. Helena, they sent here a group of Navy officers to keep an eye on the French. It was in 1816, after Napoleon's passing, William Glass and his men decided to stay. It was remote and nothing grew from the land. But here they found their freedom. Then Repetto and Lavoretto arrived 60 years later. They were shipwrecked. Some people still say they were pirates. We live well. Weather is good and wet, with plenty of gales at luscious fare. Sometimes you can hardly go out, so strong they are. But our homes are solid. It was in 1961 when St. Mary's Peak erupted, I remember. At first it was just smoke, and then you could see the lava crawling down. Everything was shaking. It became worse and worse. And then on Sunday, it was a Sunday I knew, the ground started to crack along the roads. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured. That was when the Navy ship arrived. It was a sad day when we left. Most of us cried. Our potatoes were ready for harvest. We were all shipped to the Cape first, and then later we took a steamer to England. For most of us, it was the first time we were leaving our home.
we're learning how to put up and down sails, and
We spent the day and the night and the day at Ilha Grande training more for sailing, and yeah, this is our boat. Still in Brazil! Now we're in Búzios, which is down back there.
it's been quite intense.
It's been intense. We had a very intense discussion yesterday, like a moment of crisis.
Yes.
People took blame, people blamed, and people shared their frustrations. But overall, it was, I mean, eventually it was
Today
all
actually
good.
we had a great day. We solved a lot of things and we lost an anchor. And we hope we're leaving tonight, as always.
And our boat is pretty ready to go.
Well,
into
since
the
we lost an
Atlantic.
anchor.
Yeah. And a sail ripped. And
Yes, we have 2 sails, but it's not ready. So we could train only with 1 sail today.
anyways. And do all the stuff to get out and tomorrow leave. Because otherwise, if we don't do this tomorrow, we will delay our trip by quite some more day.
They put us in Calshot near Southampton in old military barracks. People were nice to us in England, but winters were cold. We longed for our home because everything was so different in England, you see. Newspapers said we were the most remote corner of Britishness, and that we were better off in England, but people looked at us strangely. They called us volcano refugees. All we asked then was to be kept together. I have been to England and I know England. You see, everything in England is money. You won't get a pin or needle if you don't have money to buy it. People say there are more prospects for the young over there. But if they go, they all come back to Tristan in the end. I think the English wanted us to stay there. They said that we had no resources, that lava had damaged many houses, that Tristan is hard to reach and has little use for the government. I wanted to come back to Tristan. It's the free life here that I miss the most. After 2 years we came back, and so happy we were.
I think the South Africa boat is a great idea. One person perhaps is able to succeed in that. That is a highly unreliable trip. There are only 12 spaces allocated for all the boats up until September. Non-resident tourists has like the lowest priority. Considering there are only 7 to 9 boats a year, and Agulhas is the only one that has 42 places. For me, the chance of 3 people going there early
And then being returned.
it's very slim.
What we discussed between ourselves is that we prefer to go as soon as possible. We can keep our arrangements. If you could reimburse our tickets.
And because this will give us some money for like the next 3 weeks, and then we just fly back in November. We see advantages to coming back in November because the trip will still be happening, so we don't have to return the funding. We can also look for more sources of funding. We have more time to look for people.
We'll have exhibition. We would love to go as part of the core team.
I think for me it's important. I mean, of course I would love to have her on board. So what do you think? You will see the boat now, right?
But do you think Beta would be committed? I think it's important that we know that we have the boat, we get the contract and everything. That is like really reassuring. We have an idea about the saying that you want to go back to Juan's house because we have loads of stuff that we propose to the hostel that we stroll a party tonight, and they allow us to stay. And also it could be a nice, I think we don't want to go and be sad.
It is indeed a story of dead dolphins and sunken anchors. This is the end, maybe. 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 This is the end, maybe.
There are 3 fishing boats that pass by Tristan 9 times a year. They all come from the Cape, and they bring us mail, food and fuel. Sometimes, if there is space, people come along too. We have everything else here in Tristan: fish, potatoes, eggs. Some people work at the crab factory down by the harbour, but we don't get to eat much of that lobster. Most of it goes to Selfridges on Oxford Street in London, so they say. Now, people also work on other jobs. Before, I don't know if I can tell you how we lived without money. We used to barter. We got things from ships on exchange for something else. They would come here and want our meat and potatoes, and we would get flour, tea, sugar, or any other luxuries they had in exchange. It was different then. Today there is eBay. Yes, I remember when the internet arrived. It was 1998, and it was one of the Repettos who first sent an email. It was very expensive at the time. 1 day salary at the factory then. But now you see all these people talking about their followers, hashtags, adding filters, and friends that they have never met. It's very different. We feel more global. When people leave these days, they have an easier time. It's not like it was when we went to England in the 1960s. They can stay in touch. They can relate. They know how it works.
I think what I find the most fascinating about Tristan da Cunha and its community is the logistics that it involves to lead a 21st century lifestyle, and how things like eBay or postal services, but also internet and medical services arrive with technology to this very remote place.
In 2005, Tristan wrote a letter to House of Lords in London asking to change the postcode to the more UK sounding one, so that they could buy things online easier. So what we wanted to explore is how internet or arrival of telecommunications, how changed their everyday. It's a fascinating story.
For its remoteness, but I guess also the whole fetishization of islands and isolation.
It's very interesting how the power dynamics how played out throughout the history and today, and potentially also in the future.
We wanted to see if literally the world's most remote inhabited place was urban. Would you have done this project knowing that you were gonna fail? I don't know. I'm gonna keep reflecting on this one.
I think after this journey I understood that it's very romantic, this idea of failure.
The failure in here was absolutely avoidable.
Also, it just made me question this urge of exploring things, and
Yes, a colonial urge.
it is absolutely a colonial urge, and I don't think I would have been able to understand it unless we experienced that, and probably we would not be able to reflect on it if we actually succeeded to reach the island.
I think this journey made me reevaluate my true wishes to go to this place.